What's going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bring you guys day number 1 in my 11th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And for the 11th year, I decided to sort of kick it back to the first year and not really have a theme, and just sort of go with whatever I feel like watching and reviewing, and no rules, no strict criteria or anything. We're just sort of taking it back to the basics, going with the flow. So with that said, this year I wanted to watch something that I hadn't watched, in a little while. Plus I just picked it up on 4K. So I decided to pop in Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse. This is a 4K disc released by Scream Factory here. They also released the original collector's edition Blu-ray. It was like one of their first releases back in like 2000, 10 or 11 or 12 or something. But yeah, The Funhouse. Tobe Hooper, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, my favorite horror film, as well as Eaten Alive and Poltergeist, Salem's Lot. Everybody knows Tobe Hooper. He's done a bunch of stuff. But The Funhouse here is a film from the year 1981. It takes place in a funhouse at a carnival, and it follows a young girl who is going out on a date, and it's sort of a double date. Her friend is also on the date. Her two friends are also on the date, and they're dating each other. But yeah, this guy asks her out. I think his name's Buzz, and they go to a carnival for their first date. They, mess around, check some things out. There's like a fortune teller, weird oddity section in the carnival, games, stuff like that. There's actually like a peep show type thing at this carnival that they check out, and basically they get the bright idea to stay overnight in the Funhouse, which is like the horror haunted house attraction. And they decide to, on a dare, basically stay overnight. They tell their parents that they're staying at, the other one's house or whatever, and they decide to spend the night. There is a person who works for the carnival, works in the funhouse, who they see sort of soliciting the fortune teller, who seems to be like also a prostitute, for some sort of sexual favor, and it ends badly and bloody, and they're sort of trapped in this funhouse with a potential murderer, and that's basically the film. I will say, this has never been my favorite horror film of the 80s, and I feel like the third act of this film is like a little too bland at times, but I will say that the carnival setting and the stuff early on is actually really, really good. Just them interacting and hanging out at the carnival is actually incredibly entertaining, whereas like the slasher stuff is like the less entertaining aspect, which is usually never the case. It's usually like the slasher stuff's the better stuff, and the like setup and boring dialogue and stuff like that is what you dread in slasher films. But I feel like this film, that stuff is more interesting than the slasher stuff, but it still is pretty decent. I think it runs pretty well. It doesn't overstay its welcome or anything like that. And I really like the look of the funhouse and the carnival. It's awesome. Great place to set a horror film. So yeah, I think I enjoyed this more this time than I had in the last couple times I watched it. Maybe the 4K disc helped with that. Looks pretty good. Scream Factory has not blown me away on any of their transfers compared to some of the other 4K companies, but it's solid. And yeah, with that said, I'll give The Funhouse a solid 7 out of 10. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time tomorrow with another review, and peace out.